I kind of want to switch over to niching, and so you not only do PI, but you also won't really narrow. So you're focusing on trucking and TBI, and you know with the competitive landscape that you see, like in Denver, how are you approaching this from a marketing perspective or a positioning perspective?
Sure. So I think a lot of this came about with us working with a business coach, and that has been hugely helpful in getting our firm off the ground. So we started working with a coach initially, but it goes back to when you start your own firm. Of course, there's that fear of getting clients in the door. And so we were casting a really wide net at the outset, just looking to get clients in, and we were realizing that a lot of the cases we were working on was not something that we were extremely passionate about. It was a personal injury case, but where we enjoyed working the most is in that trucking space, and then working with clients who have suffered traumatic brain injuries. And so our coach was like, well, how are people supposed to know that that's what you specialize in if you're not advertising it? And of course, our fear was, well, if we only say we're only taking trucking or only taking brain injury cases, that's gonna make everyone else with a dog bite or a less severe car crash case go somewhere else. But that's not what happens. And what happens is you start projecting out there and putting out there that this is what we love working on, this is what we do, this is what we're experts in. And so that's how people find you. So it works the opposite of what we initially thought. Because if you don't put out there that you are the experts and you specialize in this, then it's kind of silly to expect people who've been in a truck crash or who've suffered a brain injury to find you.
I gotta imagine that lends itself, just the perception of expertise alone lends itself better to referrals from other attorneys for co-counsel, things like that. You creating content, it's creating content is so broad, right? There's create content on Google and social, and just content itself is just one of those super generic words. But tell me about the guidebooks you've created and how those work from a lead gen perspective.
Sure. So we have a few guidebooks on our website that we provide for free. You can just download them by going to our website. But we were getting asked a lot of the same questions in the cases that we handle, like in trucking or in car crash or in dog bite cases. And we were thinking, hey, wouldn't it be a great idea if we could refer clients here, or potential clients who are Googling all this stuff anyways, had a more concise way to access all the answers to all the questions that someone typically has when they're involved in these types of incidents. And so we put those on our website, and we have had a lot of people find us that way, just searching. And we try to refer people to that on our social media. But we've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and that it's been helpful, and definitely puts out there that we're more authoritative on these types of cases, and that we deal with a lot of these questions all the time.
Amazing. Yeah, great. And that showcases your expertise too. The kind of jumping over to the technology and trucking and TBI, and so when you're trying to maximize case value and really nail a TBI case, what are there certain components of technology that help facilitate this, or are there items that other attorneys may overlook that helps with the value? So speak to me, I guess, specifically about a TBI case.
Sure. So when it comes to a TBI case, honestly, the most impactful thing is just really getting to know the client right away, and getting to know the people around them in their life. Because a lot of it is who they were before, and then comparing that to who they are after. Because most people who have suffered a traumatic brain injury, they're a completely different person. And it's not necessarily something that they're going to realize, but everyone in their life is going to pick up on that immediately. They're going to notice the small things that they do differently in their day-to-day. They're going to notice the things that they're forgetting or have trouble elaborating when they're speaking to things. But as far as technology-wise, there are some tests that have been helpful in proving a traumatic brain injury. We find that more providers, so more neurologists and concussion specialists, are recommending DTI imaging. Before, that didn't used to be something that we were seeing so much as a diagnostic tool. It was like a good to have, kind of nice nice scan because it does a good job of picturing or depicting the traumatic brain injury itself. And being kind of an invisible injury, it's nice to have those colorized scans that show where in the brain there's that disconnect and what's going on inside the person's body. So that has definitely been helpful, that more treaters are recommending that, and then you have a better chance of overcoming any of the Daubert challenges and stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, and kind of switching over to the trucking side too, when you're constructing a case, just the basics for maybe the attorneys listening that maybe they get a trucking case and they're like, I'll just treat it like a typical car case. Like what are the big differences? And then how do you effectively go about gathering evidence for a case like that?
Yeah, so we do get a lot of questions on how to handle trucking cases, and we're actually my partner and I are putting together a trucking litigation guide, and it's geared exactly towards it's meant to be to help any attorney who doesn't necessarily specialize in trucking but is starting to get into that space, or just has questions on, hey, this trucking case came in unexpectedly. Do I need to co-counsel? What do I need to do right away? It's meant to help with a lot of those questions that we get right at the outset of a case. But trucking cases, as you know, definitely need to be treated differently. And there's a lot that needs to be done right at the outset of a case. So, we're hiring experts immediately. We're doing data downloads. We're doing accident reconstructions if necessary. And I can't stress enough the importance of getting hands-on training and experience. I was fortunate, so I'm a big member of the ATAA, so Academy of Truck Accident Attorneys, and there's a women's group that recently started what's called the Mother Truckers. And every year we have an annual convention where we actually go and get together and drive tractor trailers. And the first time that I did that was last August. We went out to a trucking course in Montana, and it was the best experience ever because you get to see what's going on inside the cab. You get to see everything that a professional truck driver has to focus on. You realize there's absolutely no room to be distracted in a huge vehicle like this. And we got to work one-on-one with different experts, learn how to secure loads properly, learn when and how you're supposed to place emergency triangles. So just a lot of that stuff. It's really great to have that hands-on experience to fully understand everything you need to be looking for in a case like this.